It was patronizing, the apology. The shaming was the most hurtful thing, but the apology was an insult on another level. Not to me per se, but to all the men like me from ages past. Patronizing, that was the word I was looking for. Treating me as a child who only needs a quick apology. And she should recognize that when I took her iced coffee from her hands and I shattered it, squeezed it out for the briefest of moments so that she understood that she lives at the mercy of the strong. Where does this mercy come from? So, this Roman was speaking to a rabbi, and he was criticizing the rabbi for his generosity towards the poor. And he made the point, well, if God is your king and your king hates a subject and throws him in jail, would he not be angry with the man who brought food to that subject? To which the rabbi responded, if the king threw his own son into jail to teach him a lesson, would he not look favorably upon the man going against his orders to bring food to his son? So this very handsome dude in the crypto world, his name is Robert Breedlove, and he made a very interesting statement a while ago that man is no better than his incentives. What was the Roman Empire before the influence of Christendom? And more to the point, what was society based on before the influence of the Judeo Christian values? May I suggest that the incentive of the strong was to remain strong and to oppress the weak? That the Romans, the citizen men, could do anything they wanted to a slave girl that they so cared about. And this kept on going until it hit the wall of Christendom. Now, there are stories, of course, of the British doing this to their servants, entire biographies of this violation of women who are beneath their class. And there are stories of the Roman world was built on slavery, a brutal type of slavery, which required many examples for slaves to understand how unworthy they were to prevent them from preventing uprisings. Because, as we know, if there's uprisings of slaves, there will be murders and rapes. Because this was the ancient world, and just because one was oppressed does not mean they don't share the same ideology. And this was the ideology of the ancient world. The strong exploit the weak. You could say it's only the Roman Empire, it's the Egyptian Empire, it's the Syrian Empire, it's the Chinese Empire, it's India, it's Japan, it's any feudal system, any pyramid of civilization. You go try to get to the top and push everyone underneath you down. Those are the incentives of men. And far from not building civilization, that built much of civilization that we know. Let me say that again. This built much of civilization. As a conservative, it's very hard to argue against something that built all of civilization. Plato's only mention of slavery was that he was glad he wasn't born a slave. The idea of empathy or balance between you and God and your fellow man, your fellow servant who is weaker than you, is completely non-existent. The threat of death is no deterrent to many men. A day where the losses stop right then and there, that sounds very appealing to many men, even if it costs them their lives. So, concerning our incentives, this was a topic for the Jews when you're getting kicked in the mouth. It's a topic for many saints. In Malachi 3:13, your words have been harsh against me, says Jehovah. Yet you say, what have we spoken against you? You have said it is useless to serve God. What profit is it that have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked as mourners before the Lord of hosts? It is a problem, is it not? Because what seems like we just substituted the strong for the manipulative in this society. There, we in large cultures, in large corporations, those who fling up to the top are beta males and psychopaths because both know how to give people what they want and hide their own agendas. This is not my point. This is Coach Red Pill. He's a genius about this matter. So, which exactly is the worst, the strong or the manipulative? Seems like the manipulative get other people's hands dirty in the matter. To tell themselves they're good people because they don't get to see the horror they commit. Something that helps them sleep at night. That they can be um, detached from their own violence. Um, in another matter, Rollo Tomasi says churches are beta factories. It's hard for me to disagree with that, being that man inside of churches is taught to hide his instincts, his nature, and incentives inside of those buildings. Inside those buildings. The cross is the picture of man's absolute cruelty. Put upon its head, it is that is also one man's greatest feat of forgiveness and kindness and beauty. Far from not knowing the darkness incentives what we want, it knows all that. It knows this every last sin that we commit. It's taught not to throw we're not to throw pearls before swine. So much of our Christian thought about protecting the poor and the weak has been taken by our culture, and they attribute it to evolution or some social order, which absolutely, as we see in India with the caste system, or China, or anywhere else where the gospel has not penetrated the mind of the citizenry, um, that is clearly not the case. And this book is a fantastic journey into what man is truly like, taken away from the shadow of the cross that we've come to use as a crutch in our minds. Even atheists of today, even the leftists of today, there was no victim mentality in the Roman Empire. This is Morgan McGee, Greatest of Reward, Tom Holland's book, Dominion. Check it out. Thank you very much, and God bless.